What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 4 of the Portland Monthly Premodern Magic Afternoons July 2024 tournament. This is the last round of Swiss before the cutoff to top 4. So let's see who's making the cut. First up, we have Mose on his 5-color Gators Brew. This is a base green deck taking advantage of all the mana fixing that color affords to play a mid-range game with not just 4 Phyrexian Gators, but also 4 Fire Ice, 4 Source of Plowshares, a couple of Meddling Mages, some Winter Orbs for extra flavor, and I do see a couple of Thornscape Apprentices as well as some counter magic in some mana leaks. This is a very cool list, has done very well for him in the past, and I'm excited to see how it does moving forward. John is arguably on the big bad of the format right now, Replenish. This deck is all about value through enchantment, through Parallax Wave, Parallax Tide, Opalescence, Replenish as the name implies, and just a lot of really good control cards, ways to disrupt what your opponent is doing until you're able to basically wipe out all of their lands and all their creatures and swing in for massive enchantment creature damage. Everyone knows this deck, but this is especially a cool list in the fact that he's been working towards foreign language cards. Looks about 50% of the way there, but still a really cool goal. All right, those are the deck lists. Let's get in the games. All right, here we go. We have Mose on the left, John on the right. So we're gonna get a roll to start things off. See who's gonna get the advantage in this game, and this is a prime example of why I prefer odd even, one and done. The players are only 4, and it looks like John is gonna get the start here. Now, of the two decks, I would say that Moses is definitely more aggressive, has a lot more low to the ground creatures, wants those mana dorks firing a turn early if possible. Overall, though, if he cannot be pushing those Phyrexian Gators early, it's definitely going to be a tough matchup for him. A little bit of small talk between the players. Everyone here is pretty close. Everyone kind of knows each other at this point. This is coming up on, I think, almost a year of the Portland Premodern scene. And that is Portland, Oregon, for those of you in or around the area. Link is in the video description if you want to check out the website, which links to our Discord, open to all. Really fun group, proxy friendly. All right, we got some stuff going on here. John just leaning off the land, Mose trying to get a Mandork out, getting swords, and we're on to turn 2. Ancient Tomb for John, 3 mana up, and we're going to see an attunement here. Taking a lot of damage to play that out, but we do see he's got at least a Parallax Tide in hand. It would not be too unreasonable to assume he's got a Replenish. We got a Meddling Mage coming down. This is a big draw for Mose. I don't think we got scraps of paper, unfortunately. So John, I'm gonna go grab something to use. I do have some in the video setup. I just always forget to put them out, and we have to leave our players to be resourceful. So all right, Replenish. That makes perfect sense. And John just draws it off the top. You hate to see it. All right, but he might have a swords in hand. Actually, I think he might. No, that might be a Seal Cleansing. All right, we're pitching Ancient Tomb, Parallax Tide, Attunement. What's the last one gonna be? No, actually, I think that is that a swords? I can't tell. I think that might be the Ice Age swords. Yeah, so he does have it for next turn. Granted, he doesn't have the right payoffs necessarily. Putting Parallax Tide in the graveyard this early might be dangerous, but yeah, he doesn't have the Opalescence or Parallax Wave. So no wombo combo right now. He definitely could disrupt Moses' mana, which could be enough. It looks like no, we are gonna pitch nothing good. Can replenish to get the attunement, but no real reason to do that right now. We're seeing 3. Sorry, 4. For a frantic search. Gonna be mana positive here. 1 floating. I'm assuming a white floating. All right. Did we draw enough for it to make sense? This is part of the explosiveness of this deck too. All right, pitching the Tide. Has functionally 5 mana right now. Granted, it is gonna hurt him. John already down, oop, taking more damage, down to 10. All right, let's Factor Fiction. Ooh, dangerous. There's that Opalescence. I can't imagine Mose wants him to have that. He might try and give him the Replenish, since there is a Meddling Mage on Replenish. But even that's risky. This is a really hard pile. The Stifle, I don't think matters too much. Yes, you can stifle the Parallax Tide if he's able to get it back. The Mana Leak, also probably not relevant with just 1 white up. Alright, so we're going to make a little pile here. And interestingly, putting the Opalescence and the Replenish both in the same pile. I guess because he knows the Opalescence potentially wants to go to the graveyard. But no, we are taking... Okay, that is going to the graveyard. Yep, that makes sense. Knowing that he has the swords in hand. And passing back to Mose. Alright, Swords Man is up. It's gonna take... Nope, not gonna take 2. Announcing the swords. Getting exiled. Mana Drawer coming down, and unfortunately just a pass. No second Meddling Mage. Which granted, there are only 3 of in the deck. But now Mose is free to at least attempt a Replenish. Knowing that Mose has counterspells, which I don't know if John actually knows that, I may have kept the hand with, or kept the Factor Fiction with the second Replenish, just to have a backup, just in case there is some counter magic here. Because there's not a lot of counterspells in Moses' deck, not a lot of ways to interact with that. Sideboard, for sure, there's more naturalizes and that kind of stuff, but main deck, not so much. And we are primed for a Replenish, I believe. There is a Frantic Search. John could try and eke out some more value here, but I think we're just going... Oh no, we are going for the Frantic Search, which is getting countered. All right, and that is going to get Mana Leaked. Yes, there is 1 extra up from the Frantic Search. Mose maybe incorrectly realizing that. Yes, okay, so we're going to get a take back here. Or a little discussion if we're getting the take back here. Okay, looks like we're going to take back here. Again, everyone's friend. Not realizing that the face-up Mana Leak was still castable. Alright, untap land here. It's not going to matter much, though, because John having that protection. Unfortunately, not drawing much, it looks like, with his Frantic Search. Just discarding a couple of lands. Alright. Gonna tap more. Actually, pay the mana for Replenish. And unfortunately, yep, gonna have to potentially try the mana leak. Doesn't matter, there's still 2 mana up. Yeah, that's the only card in hand. Not sure exactly what's in Moses' hand. Kind of looking at the graveyard, seeing what's coming back. At least an Opalescence and a Parallax Tide. Which is not super scary. Alright, choosing not to counter anything. Oh, and an attunement, that's right. Okay. Choosing to force getting rid of the mana leak. I guess mostly just because it's an extra card in hand for attunement. And now we have a couple of enchantment creatures. And surprisingly, through all of John's deck, that's the only enchantments we've seen so far. Alright. And John hitting all lands, functionally reducing Moses' mana down to 1, unless he has a land in hand, which looks like he might have an Undiscovered Paradise, which is a really good card with Winter Orb. Alright, and unfortunately just gonna go land go. And we are swinging in for a bit of damage. And we're gonna attunement here. That is another Opalescence. Is that 2 attunements and an Opalescence? That is not a great draw by any means. We're gonna pitch all of those. Or maybe not. Okay, it looks like we're actually gonna keep one of the attunements. Play it out for no damage to himself. And that one is going to get mana leaked as well. Turns out Mose did have 2 mana leaks. We got the elf swinging in. I mean, when your opponent's at 4, any creature is a win con. Alright, tapping 1. Gonna swords. Interesting. Alright, swordsing the Parallax Tide. Getting all his lands back, untapped. Tapping 3 for a Negator. Oh man, this is a game. That Negator is serious trouble. Mose representing only 6 damage on board right now, but it is a 2-turn win easily. And we're swinging in for... just go for it. Full send. You're not winning the long game against this deck? Yep. Okay, just swinging it for 5. A little more measured response. Maybe he has some interaction. Or just doesn't want to be taking so much damage off of cities. Alright, we're going to get an Elephant, which is lethal on its own right, and a Winter Orb. Unfortunately, John is all tapped out. But I think this is going to be too much for him to handle. It looks like it. I think game 1 is going to Mose. Looks like that's the case. He takes it down. We're on to game number 2. And here we are in game number 2. Alright, Mo's showing why the deck can be hyper aggressive. Those Negators are not messing around. Doing a little bit of sleeve inspection, looks like. And John taking the play here as well. Hand seems a little land light, maybe? Yeah, okay, we are shipping it back. Looks like Mose is going to be keeping. Gonna take his time and enjoy one of the many Great Beers, the brewer we play at, has, I won't say the name here on camera, but for those of you willing to join the Portland Discord, link is in the video description. We got our monthly tournaments, we got weekly meetups as well. We even do a semi-formal Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month Swiss with anti-cards, which is a ton of fun. A little more competitive, but everyone, including myself, tends to show up semi-regularly with brews because honestly that's part of the fun of Premodern. Trying something new, playing an old deck that you have a lot of nostalgia for, even if it's not necessarily tier 1, can still sometimes just be good enough. Speaking of good enough, it looks like this hand might be good enough for John. Looking like maybe he's putting back a Mana Leak. Being on the play and getting rid of a counterspell is an interesting choice. He does have a swords, so he does have some early interaction, but wanting to protect your combo might be more relevant, I would imagine. But I'm not really sure. Maybe he's just a little worried on lands. Drawing another land definitely doesn't help. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a Replenish in his hand and a Opalescence. Sort of looks like what it is. It's a little hard to tell. Anyways, Mo's actually taking a very slow approach to game number 2. All right, John drawing an Opalescence. We're gonna go for the attunement and pass. So no counter magic here from Mo's. No immediate naturalize or anything like that. I actually can't remember if attunement has instant speed. I assume it does. A little tough to hit. Enchantment decks have definitely been the bane of Premodern lately. The Oath decks first, and now more Parallax Wave or Replenish decks. And in my own personal bias, enchantments or Enchantress. Enchantments being specifically really tough to deal with, especially in a lot of colors, is a little rough. I'm not saying anything needs to be banned out of these decks, but if I was, Opalescence springs to mind. And it looks like Replenish is being named, which is also out. Honestly, a pretty good ban target as well, but I don't think the decks are at that point where the community as a whole feels like they need to be. There are definitely decks that just thrash enchantment based decks. Funny enough, Terravor with Cataclysms in the main being one. All right, we got an Opalescence and pass. Interestingly enough, not swinging in with the attunement, which is a 3/3, I'm pretty sure. Missing potentially a little bit of damage there. A couple of seal cleansings here. All right, now remembering he does actually have a creature, one enchantment creature. And are we going to see that swords? No, we got a seal cleansing, which is also functionally a 2/2. All right, Mo's shortcutting here a little bit. Is going to go fetch. Grab a forest. Man, those... I think there is a Saga forest foil just look very cool. Not my personal preference. I'm more of a Odyssey foil land aficionado. Invasion's pretty cool too. Urza Saga is also obviously very sweet. But yeah, those do look very good. Viewers, if you're still watching, comment below what your favorite foil Old Borderland is. Actually, it doesn't even need to be foil. There's definitely some really sweet APAC lands. The swamp Tombstone one, I'm blanking. I think it's the blue APAC is one of my favorites, and I wish that one came in foil. I love that land art. All right, we got a brush hopper here. Discard some cards, can blink it, protect it. But it's also just a pretty good stick on its own right. I can do some tricky things with blocking, I guess, too. Pointing at the creature, at the brush hopper. Gonna block. In response to the block, do attunement. So that answers my question about attunement being instant speed. Still has the melee mage on replenish. But John, I don't think has a replenish in hand, so it's not mattering too much. It's gonna pitch a seal. I imagine... No, actually he might just keep the attunement to play it out again. Have another go at it. He's not considering pitching the swords, is he? That seems crazy. That can't be. No? Okay. You gotta have a way to get rid of that replenish named meddling mage. Unless you're just planning on winning through enchantment creature damage, which, I mean, Mo's is on 14, but that is a far cry from anything close to lethal. Still thinking about it. What are the other cards in his hand? All right, attunement's hitting. He's got a bunch of lands. Is that a parallax? Oh, that's a parallax wave. That might be why. Okay. That makes a little more sense. The sword's not mattering as much. He does have another opalescence. And the wave is coming down. Do you got the counter spell for it? He does. Mana leak. And feeling pretty good about having that swords up now, which is getting cast. Hit the meddling mage. Perfect. Mo's up to 15. And still has a good grip of cards. And we're swinging in for 3. All the mana in the world. What are we doing with it? We got a negator. We got a negator. Nice. This is one of my personal favorite cards in Premodern. It's not always good, but when it is, oh man, it feels really good. All right, we got a second opalescence. Funny enough, those opalescence, they help each other. So those are both now creatures. Granted, one has summoning sickness. But we got a lot of blockers for that negator. And swinging in with the negator is going to be painful if Mo decides to go that way. Granted, this is one of the benefits of running such... Oh, we're going to naturalize one of them. All right, no longer a creature. Now you just got a 2/2. This is one of the benefits of Mo's having Swords of Plowshares in the deck. Is that swordsing a creature and then swinging over the top with negator with trample usually negates the life gain from swords. And also, of course, you don't take any damage. All right, we're getting an elephant. And we're going to battle. Oh, gonna fetch first real quick. Are we bluffing a swords here? Are we grabbing a plains? No, we're grabbing a forest. Okay. Granted, he does have 3 ways to make white mana. Ooh, are we actually going to see a Thornscape Apprentice? This can give first strike. Granted, once it doesn't have summoning sickness, but no, we're just swinging in. Of course, blocking the negator. Gonna sack 2 lands. Mo's has too many lands. Doesn't need to worry about it. Well, thinking about which ones he wants to do. All right, we are sacking the 2 forests. And John is down to 6. We're in the danger zone right here. That's a mana leak. That's not going to do much. And that is going to be game number 2. Mo's taking it down. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thanks to Mo's and John for playing. Those were some crazy games. Always good to see the Gators deck do its thing. Replenish definitely had its moments, its potential. You can see why it's such a dangerous deck. And thanks to all of you for watching. If you made it this far and you haven't liked or subscribed to the video so far, please do so. It really helps out the channel. If you want to support the channel even more, there is a Patreon link in the video description below. That money goes towards gear upgrades, travel expenses, making more pre-modern videos, all that kind of stuff. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.